Hey, I'm Kaz. You're watching the fitfunkaz podcast. Today's episode is episode 5, and I'm here to share tips and tricks and the stories on the food that I ate to lose my 54 kilos. So like and subscribe to this channel first, please. I appreciate all of your support in advance. Like and subscribe to this channel if you're watching, because this is our way of giving back to you, sharing so many tips and tricks and health stories and inspiration. But if you could please hit pause, you're not going to miss a thing. Subscribe to Fit Fun Kaz and share with your family and friends if I can help them achieve their own health and fitness goals this year in 2025. So today's episode is episode 5, and we are talking all things food, nutrition, calorie counting. We're talking some habits, some myth busting, and my emotional journey in regards to eating, and my tips and tricks on how to overcome that as well. So let's wind it all back. My starting weight was 111 kilos. I was at my heaviest. I had had my 2 beautiful kids, and throughout that baby weight of just natural progression, I lost about 10 to 15 kilos. So I start my journey in 2 chunks. So I've got a beautiful baby boy, and I am now a mum, but I also know I need to change the way I eat. So in 2015, I take on a mission of learning how to calorie count. I learn a mission of how to enter my calories into my best friend at the time and still is MyFitnessPal. And I learn what it takes to eat around 300 to 400 calories per main meal and about 100 to 150 calories in my snacks. And that is honestly what I ate throughout my journey, was 1,200 to 1,500 calories per day. And my goals was around the 300 to 400 calories to eat on a main meal and 100 to 150, as I stated before, on the snacks. So 2015 is a huge year of transformation for me because we're brand new parents. 2, I am having a red hot crack at achieving my best PB ever in losing my weight. See, prior to losing all of this weight, my best was about 4 to 8 kilos. And I did that on, I would call now in reflection, fad diets. It was anywhere from a shake diet to a extremely low carb diet to just trying my best to lose as much weight in the quickest way possible. And I would still train. So whether that be going to the gym, etc., or going to boot camps, but I had an all or nothing approach to life back then. And I just wanted a quick fix. And I know many of you can relate to this because we just want to have it done already. And can I tell you, as a part of these tips and tricks across these sharing of stories today, there is no quick fix. Sorry, guys, but there may be, I guess, substitutes, or there could be ways to be able to, enhance with, whether it be supplements, etc. And, there's many cool things out there. But the honest fact, the myth buster of today's exercise is literally this: calorie deficit will allow you to lose weight. With the right mindset, with the right training, and with the right approach and positive outlook on achieving this, you will get there bit by bit. And so I'm telling you about a 2015 story, which is I lost 15 kilos. The next was about to happen after we had our beautiful girl Harper in 2017, where I lost 34 kilos. So across this journey, 1,200 to 1,500 calories was my sweet spot for losing the weight. And during that time, as I rolled onto that process, for the first 2 weeks, I knew that was going to be my hardest, right? That is where the habits will come undone. That is where I'll start to feel more hungry than usual. And that's where I completely realized how much the snack cupboard and that fridge were my besties prior to that. And literally that I learned that I'd question myself when I got hungry in those periods of time. And I'd ask myself, are you hungry? Are you thirsty? Or is this a myth buster? Is this a habit that you need to break? And I'm grateful I learned that. I don't know how I learned it. It was something, whether it was research or just drilled in me at the time, but I would ask myself that. A lot of the time I was thirsty. So when you're training and when you're eating, your body needs more fluid. So enjoying that really, great hydration, whether that be nice filtered water in general, but hydrating myself definitely helped. A lot of the time it was habit. So it was because I just was used to eating and, hey, I'm hungry, I'm going to have something to eat. So a lot of majority of the time it was habit. And let me tell you, when you don't have as many snacks in your cupboard, when you don't have as many, things that you can reach for in the fridge, it certainly makes it a lot easier, because I guess you will still go to the cupboard, you will still go to the fridge until you unlearn those habits. But let me tell you, having healthier food in the fridge, so whether that be veg, fruits, and really pre-made goods, so whether that's protein balls, that was another one of my favorites. If you're going for a snack in that fridge, especially, I love protein balls nowadays, but back in the day, it was probably going to be something sweet in the fridge instead that was loaded in sugar. So I would always have protein balls in my fridge to outsmart myself when I was going for a snack attack, as we call it in our household. So during the 1,200 to 1,500 calorie march marathon and breaking down of those calories, my tips around that process was simple. I needed to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner at around 300 to 400 calories, and I needed to eat snacks at 100 to 150 calories. And that was my bank balance. And I was making sure I was not taking any more than that. There were days where, hey, life happens and that happens, right? But I knew you cannot, it's a day, right? You can't throw it out. You can't go all or nothing, Kaza, because that's what you did before. You have to just stay true to you, reset overnight, and go again. But to track my bank balance, MyFitnessPal was my bestie, right? And I made time for MyFitnessPal. I made it a priority in my life. And whether that be instead of watching TV, I would write my calories in for the day, and I would, whether it be working, whether it be looking after the kids, you can't have it on you all the time. But I would take stock across my end of day, and I would look at how did I go across that day. Now, here's another tip. If you do not prepare your food the day before or the morning of, and if you're going to work, that end of day stock take could cost you a lot of calories in your bank account balance, in MyFitnessPal in particular. And that is another lesson that I learned, that if I did not prepare my food, if I was allowing, and there are plenty healthy options today of eating out, but there's still some guesswork to be done there. But if I was allowing others to prepare my meals for me, I wasn't going to have as great a day as preparing it myself. So another tip, preparation is key. So if I've already pre-made my foods, my breakfast, depending where I was. So if I went to a gym class and I'm actually not going home, I am actually now getting ready at the gym and I'm going straight to, whether it be the busway or straight to work. I had all of my food in my bag in an esky on the way, and that was already pre-packed the night before. So I know I'm going to have a great day, unless, and here's what happens next. Morning tea kicks in and you want to go out and you want to get a snack, right? Again, make sure you've pre-packed your snacks as well as your lunch for that day, because that's going to stop you. The other thing was coffee. I love coffee, but all of those calories add up. So I'm a skinny cap girl. I always have, always will be, although, shall I say, going on this journey, I was, my first cappuccino journeys was one cappuccino, half strength with 2 sugars. Again, learning to wean off sugar was another part of that process. But cappuccinos, right, they can add up, even the skinny caps, right? But I would have to forfeit. For example, my go-to snack was a apple and a small skinny cap if it was the days where then I'm in a deficit and I need to still stick with the 150 calorie mark. So what do you do when you don't have or you can't have those calories for a coffee? My best friend was Robert Tim's and still is. I have many other options nowadays, but a Robert Tim's coffee bag, always on hand, and a dash of milk. And that was my enjoyment. And I could still eat my snack then. So my best snack ever was my Chobani yogurts. It filled me up. There were about 120 calories at the time. And I know there's many variants these days. But honestly, that was my best fulfilling snack that was going to tie me over between breakfast and lunch and/or afternoon tea to dinner time. But that was my go-to snack. So thank you so much, Chobani, if you're listening. I am fully and appreciative of you guys and all the goodness that is in those yogurts. So not only are you getting the protein, but you're also getting the really good live cultures that is helping you with your gut gut-friendly bacteria. And I probably know more about that these days. I'm a certified nutritionist. But back then, all I knew is I needed to fuel myself with things that were going to keep me fuller for longer. So again, another tip across this journey is there are going to be foods that you want to eat or you're used to eating. And I remember a snack bar that I used to eat on a previous diet, and it was, a point system. And although that snack was lovely, it never filled me up. And yeah, it was good for points or calories, but it was not going to fill me up. So I knew I had to swap these out. So that's a good transition strategy for me and was. But at the end of the day, I knew there was going to be better snacks out there that was going to keep me fuller for longer. So those snacks like Chobani, like I mentioned, like an apple with a coffee or an apple with a bit of like a small protein ball was great. These days it's an apple with a bit of peanut butter, but they were and still are my go-to snacks because they fill me up. They also keep me happy. They also make sure my gut is also at its best when we are aging and all of those beautiful things that come with gut health. So when I look at my foods overall, especially dinner time, now I learned very quickly, and I learned this at a young age, but I applied it very much in my journey. Eat like a king for breakfast, a queen for lunch, and an absolute peasant at dinner. And that was the depressing part. You had to get over that. I just knew that that was not my feast time. That was not, unless it was Saturday, it was my treat meal. So I did eat one treat meal a week. But dinner for me, I had to make sure, again, I was smart about what I was eating, but it was fueled with really good protein. So a lot of it had chicken or lean beef, and then most of it was filled with veggies. Now, again, for those who've watched in previous episodes, I got gestational diabetes both times, pregnant with the kids. So I'm grateful I had huge help from my endocrinologist around what to eat, when to eat, and the types of food. So I learned a low GI diet was best for me, and I still applied that throughout this journey. So I learned to, eat like a diabetic. So it was half a plate of veggies, the other quarter was protein, and the other quarter was, say, a few more carbohydrates or starchy carbohydrates. So during that time, I learned that dinner, for example, even though I applied those rules of king, queen, peasant, I just made sure, though, that I still filled myself up with the good stuff. And so veggies was the best bang for buck and still are, right? So adding that to my lunchtime meals, adding that to my dinner certainly kept me fuller for longer. So breakfast, lunch, dinners varied also throughout my journey. I didn't have a one size fits all when it came to meal plans. And that's simply because I know I'm a cook, right? A home cook. And I'm grateful for my mama. She taught me at a very young age. Thank you, Dal. But at the same time, I know I have to cook for my family. And, between my beautiful husband and I, we would take turns on what recipes we would use. So I'm grateful that I learnt how to use MyFitnessPal, and I learnt how to load my recipes into MyFitnessPal. And that way, then I was still staying track with the calories, but we were eating the foods that we loved and enjoyed. And that's where the freestyle baker came into play. And most Sundays, if you followed me on any of my socials, I was always baking something or prepping for the week ahead. And that's simply because, again, I'm taking out the sugars, I'm reducing the fats, and I'm making it as flavorsome as possible. And I still am today. And again, with now the accreditation, the certification for being a nutritionist as well as a personal trainer, I'm able to apply the science behind it a lot better as well, which is really, really cool. And I'm so grateful for. So when we tie in families, we tie in kids cooking, my kids know that broccoli is our best friend when it comes to veggies. That's their number one veggie that they go to. And that is because, again, we eat it. So I guess when we are talking role model material and we're talking the foods we eat, they will incorporate what you eat most of the time anyway. But we started, trialing that with the kids at a very young age. And so what we found there also was really cool and exciting that, they love their mac and cheese. However, they also knew that mac and cheese was not going to give them the satisfaction of a chicken, broccoli, and a really cool, nice pasta sauce with some pasta. I watched my kids' behavior change. So I figured, if this is happening in me, that's a little person. So we had some really cool things, and we can talk about this in later episodes around the kids and the behavior of cutting back their sugar, cutting back certain foods and timing, and making sure that we increase the really good carbohydrates, the really good veggies for their own diet. So not only was I transforming But my kids were also changing what they ate, and it helped them sleep better as well. And we all know as parents, bless having a good night's sleep. So I strongly encourage you, if you are starting this health journey or you're about to kickstart, because let's face it, we've all had those trial and errors. If you've got kids, take them on the journey and show them that veggies aren't your enemy. They don't taste disgusting. Season them with the good stuff, and it's trial and error. And I know our children, they are fussy eaters at times, but bit by bit, they get better and better. And we went from one stalk of broccoli to a bigger stalk of broccoli to now 2 stalks of broccoli with some extra veggies, added to the plate. And now, it goes from a roast dinner with some lovely veggies, and they'll eat, Spud Light is another of my latest favorites, but they will sit down and they'll have a lovely meal with us. And we sit at the dinner table and we talk about all the good things that we've had for the week. And it's usually Sunday roast dinner. And that's just trying to, again, give them the traditions that we had growing up, but also the love of food and healthy food and how it makes everyone feel happy in the end. So a few myth busting exercises that have happened along this journey. The other one is obviously fueling after my workout. So I didn't really introduce the protein shakes until I got to say that 70 kilo mark. And again, your training needs will determine how much protein you need. And obviously I know that now, but I didn't know that at the time. I just knew I had to introduce the protein powders post-workout, and I needed a shake. I made it on water, and I'd definitely consume it within 30 minutes if I could to 45 to get that bang for buck and really refueling my muscles. So when I was losing my weight, obviously as a bigger person, I didn't need as much protein. And as the body shrunk, that's when I really started focusing on then that recomp. And this is another story together, but that was very cool as well, around recomping my body, increasing my muscle tone, creating more lean muscle mass, and burning the body fat. But the lifestyle changes that have happened over this time, and this is probably one that I will conclude with, is with food and with nutrition, and I've spoken about this in previous episodes, I had to say no to a lot of things and people. And so I'm not saying I didn't go to events or I didn't go out. I just had to make sure it was the right event for me. So for example, pre-kids Kaza going out on a Friday night and enjoying herself and having drinks with her friends, lots of them, that was a no. I had to say no because my Saturday mornings was my party time. I was working out and I was enjoying my foods. I had to start saying no to those events. And that's simply because I knew it didn't serve me anymore. I didn't want to have 8 to 10 beers of a night time and then feel like crap the next day and then eat and have the knock-on effect across that weekend. So I knew alcohol and me had to have a pause whilst I transformed myself. And it wasn't a forever thing. And this is the biggest tip for anyone that's either trying to break that habit, whether it be alcohol, whether it be sugar, whether it be eating out heaps and eating really high, rich, high fat, high carb foods, is it's not a forever thing. And this is the thing I had to tell myself. This is for you now. And you have a chance to have the biggest crack at this now and get it done. And so saying no to the things that didn't serve me, but 2, having the strongest mindset, in which I've just spoke about in episode 4. And if you haven't watched it, please do. But having the strongest mindset of your why, which is episode 3, your why and your mindset are so strong that therefore then you gravitate towards all of the good things in your life. And that is a process in itself. And hey, for me, saying no to things wasn't easy, and it's still not. But that is my thing. If it doesn't serve me and what we need to do in this life, then I'm going to have to say no for now. And hey, I can come back to it and revisit it. So, okay, Friday night drinks was my thing. No, it's not my thing anymore either. And so after losing my weight, I'm like, okay, this is okay. It's a special treat or event if I am going to enjoy celebrating and having drinks. And that might be because it's a really cool milestone birthday, but that is few and far between these days. And that's because I just know fueling my body with the best I possibly can, going back to my why, which is being a role model for me, for my kids, and also being at my most healthiest, both inside and out, is what serves me these days. So those lifestyle changes kicked in, and very soon you'll start feeling, right? If you want to go and have a drink and then you wake up the next day and you don't feel good and you're still going to go to the gym, you'll feel it. And that first 15 minutes, honestly, I tell everybody that first 15 minutes is the hardest. you very soon realize, okay, come on, Kazza, you shouldn't be doing this. This is literally not serving you. It's not helping you. It's making you hungry. It's making you put on more weight over time. It is the quickest way of consuming your calories. It's not helping your bank account balance with MyFitnessPal. Hang on a minute. All the agreements that you've had for yourself are going out the window. Stop. And again, I say a moment. Make it a moment, not a day. Not a week, and definitely not all or nothing. The other lifestyle changes that occurred was literally eating the right foods to fuel my body in the best way possible when it came to enjoying my workouts, or also enjoying the birthday parties. That was the one thing that I did not, skimp out on, was the birthday cake. Now, I know it's got sugar in it, but you just learn to have a smaller piece. Or again, it's your beautiful, it's your child's birthday and you've made a beautiful cake. You want to enjoy that with them. So I knew there were some non-negotiables of things that just literally had to happen, and you factor it in. So that might mean that you're not going to eat as much of the icing, or you're going to have a smaller piece, but it's portion sizes. And you're going to go for a walk afterwards, or you've trained at the gym earlier in the morning and you've definitely worked for that. And again, it was about the love and respect for my own beautiful family. So it was not about saying no all the time. It was just about where and when and how frequent. You said yes to certain events or dinners, as opposed to nights in, treat meals on a Saturday night that are home cooked or potentially takeaway. But again, my takeaway, for example, I love this pizza shop around the corner. Again, I worked for Domino's Pizza for 5 years, and I learned and know how to cook really good pizza. So we either made it at home, we make it fun, or if we did buy out, I'd just have 2 to 3 pieces and then again, fill my plate with salad or veggies. So again, you're filling yourself up with the good stuff. So here are a couple and many mythbuster moments, also lifestyle changes, how I also approached losing 54 kilos and the calories that I ate at, the style of eating, also looking at it holistically, looking at it as far as the foods that I was eating, how did it make me feel? That was the big one that it also changed me on the inside out. And I talk about this in previous episodes, but holistically, that changed me. And I knew that there were certain foods that absolutely said, yes, please, more of that. And the ones that probably gave me the hugest, the biggest sugar high and biggest crash. And so over time, get absolutely curious with yourself and ask yourself, go back to it. Am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Or is this a habit? How does this food make me feel? Am I clear in the mind? How does that, whether it's alcohol, how does that make me feel? Okay, it might give me a rush at the beginning, but, of the night or day, but next day it does not. And over time, and I've spoken about mindset, journaling is another great way. So you've got your MyFitnessPal to track, but journaling is another great way to work out, where am I tracking? How am I going? How am I going to get there? And how am I going to succeed? And yes, there's moments, it's life. But then how do we transform ourselves to make ourselves the best version we possibly can be for us and our why and our family and the people that are closest to us? So thank you so much, everyone, for listening to this part of the episode, which is around food, nutrition, myth-busting exercises, and lifestyle-changing events when it comes to losing weight. I hope you'd enjoyed. Please, again, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and make sure you like, because this is the way of showing me, 1, you've listened, 2, this is valuable content that you are getting the best out of, and 3, that you are also sharing with your family and friends, because you know it's going to create a greater good for all when it comes to health and happiness. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate you. I appreciate your feedback. Please also comment below if there are things, tips, or tricks you need help with this year. And likewise, if you're struggling with all of the above, you have followed for quite some time and you need assistance, I'm a certified nutritionist and personal trainer. I offer mentoring sessions. So send me a message, fitfunkaz, whether that be here on Instagram or fitfunkaz@outlook.com, and I will arrange a session with you and we can chat more about what your needs are and how I can help you absolutely smash your goals this year. Thank you so much, and I will chat soon.